not been to my channel before, then hiya, I'm Ricky. Thank you for turning up today. I'm a guitar teacher. I've been a guitar teacher for roughly around about 30 years, something like that. And today's lesson is basically tantalizingly titled as the minor pentatonic scale autopsy. Hopefully you can hear this. I've got my guitar plugged in. If the guitar's too loud, just tell me. Just tell me in the chat. I'm trying to keep an eye on things here. So, like I say, today's lesson is all about this autopsy of the minor pentatonic. And what we're really looking at, someone mentioned it in one of my, in a comment on a video, and it was basically, well, you know, the notes in the pentatonic, there's a reason they do what they do and they have a function. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delve into it. But what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to show you how to use caged octaves to help you to see where these intervals are. Because what the intervals do, and I kind of explain them in this way, that intervals themselves have an emotional value on top of the chord of the moment, the harmony that is going on. This is what I call the chord of the moment. So if it's an A minor chord, an A7 chord, or something like that, this minor pentatonic chord is going to have a specific, the notes of the minor pentatonic are going to have a specific effect on top of that chord and have an emotional value. So that's what this lesson is all about. And the reason this is important is because everybody plays the minor pentatonic. Everybody plays it, but everybody sounds different. And that's kind of the idea that I want to impress upon you, is finding your own sound, making your own voice clear, and finding those intervals not by kind of accident or mishap. It's about finding them reliably, and the octaves give you that way through to that pattern. Okay, so we are going live with this, and I'm just going to pull this down here. Hi Mark, hopefully you can hear me. What we've got going on here is we have the minor pentatonic, and this is in A minor. This is the old favorite, the one we all love and know so much. And if you've not seen the video, if you don't know this scale, have a look at this video up here that'll show you where that is. That's on the replay, obviously. So we've got the 5th fret, the 8th fret, the 5th fret on the A string, 7 on the A string, 5 on the D string, 7 on the D string, 5 on the G string, 7 on the G string, moving to the B string, B5, and then B8, and then we've got E string, and we've got 5, and we've got 8. So, you know, looking at that way, if we were thinking in terms of tab, those would be numbers. Yeah, so that's one level you can think of it. That's the basic sort of way of inputting it. You could learn it with standard notation as well. It's a little bit trickier, but if you see my other video that was about knowing the notes, then what you can do then is, you know, you can understand that there are these different ways of understanding it. We could put the musical alphabet letter names on there, but, you know, that's only going to tell you the note names. It's not going to tell you the reason why those notes work, and that's where this interval thing comes into play. So essentially I have queued up some graphics again, and let's have a look and see if I can switch over to those graphics, which means I will lose the super chat, so I cannot see what's going on there. But here I will show you what's going on. Okay guys, so hopefully you can see this representation of the fretboard there, and you can see I've got this fretboard here, and then I've got these 5 boxes here, because I'm going to run through each interval one at a time. The first interval I'm going to get into is this root note here. Well, that's a bit big, isn't it? So this root note here. And the root note, do you know what? I'm going to choose... Oh, have I got some more colours? I've not got some colours there. Okay. I'm going to choose this here. I'm going to do the root note. And when we look at the root note here, because it's starting on the E string at the 5th fret, I'm going to put a dot on there for that note. That is the root note, and because it's on the E string there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that octave pattern and show you where that lives. Now you can see that octave, that first octave, it lives here on these two strings. You can see it's up two strings over up 2 frets over 2 strings. But don't forget, if that's an E string, this is an E string too. So that is your E-shaped octave pattern. That's your pattern there. That's the one that you need to look at. So if I transfer that over onto this here, then that tells me that I can reliably find the minor pentatonic root note, those root notes there. Let me just have a look at my tools here. My colours seem to have gone. Oh, there's my colours. Right, so I've got my colours. So the root note, I'll just make this a bit smaller here. This one here, this root note, that's the one. And notice that this says penta. Penta means 5, tonic means tones. And you can see there is a root, a flat third, a fourth, a fifth, and a flat seventh. So those are 5 different note values that we can have on there. And hopefully you can see that I've just used that black dots there to show you where that root is. Now, why is it important to know where the root is? I'll just quickly switch back to here. Why is it important to know where the root is? Well, it's important to know because when you are ending a phrase, you want the phrase to resolve. If you can resolve the phrase, you know, you can build a better story with what it is that you're trying to say with the scale. I know it's a simple scale, is the pentatonic, but the thing is you need to know that it does a lot more than you think. So, you know, if I put this down here and I put a phrase, and what I'll do is I'll play it with an A minor chord, yeah, and I'm going to play an A minor 7. So if I play that A minor 7 like that, yeah, I know that my root note exists there, there, and there. There's the pattern for that. So here's what I can do. When I slide up to that root, then that means that that note is the kind of resounding, it's the finishing sound. So, yeah. There's nowhere else for the harmony to go after that. There is nowhere else for the harmony to go. So the thing is, it's a very, very kind of plain sort of sound. It's not one that's going to kind of express much emotion. Let me just switch back to my whiteboard here and just show you these shapes here. So essentially, what we've got that root note. I'm just going to change the color on this, and I'm going to go for this kind of this blue color, because for me the minor third. Now you've got to understand that the third of the chord, which is this one here, which is the next interval we're looking at here, guys. This interval here, the flat third, this one is an emotion note. This is one that's going to give you lots and lots of emotional value. You're going to be able to put this in. Now, if I was playing that minor chord like I did before, obviously that minor chord is going to have, a minor third in it. So you are matching that sound. Yeah, so it's not going to sound very clashy. There's not going to be much tension with it. It's going to be very, very resolved. But if I just plonk this one here, right, that's the flat third there. Well, obviously this is on the E string. So if we think about our caged octave shapes, we can see that the G-shaped octave, yeah, what that does is that has 3 notes on there as well. Now, if I'm just going to quickly switch back to the guitar neck itself. And if I show you the guitar here, and I'll play an old school G here, yeah, you can see that this goes across all 6 strings. And this is where these caged octaves come from. So this one is a G. I've got an open G string, as you can see underneath all that. And then I've got another G here. So this G shape, it gives you 3 different notes. So what I'm going to do is essentially transfer that G-shaped octave pattern over onto this here. And what will happen is eventually you will see the whole of this minor pentatonic manifesting itself in front of your eyes. Yeah. Now that's an emotion note, so that's a really, really important one to get to be able to target that one, because if we bend that slightly sharp, a quarter tone, we get the really sort of raunchy bluesy sound. If we bend it up a half step, which is 1 fret, then we kind of resolve up into the major, which is a really nice sound as well. So the next note we want to look at, let's just change our colour. I'm going to change this to this orange, because the thing about the next note up, which is this 4th, this is the 4th here. Oh, that's a bit big, isn't it? Let me just take that back, that size down there. I'm going to take that one there, because there's a new bit of tech is this for me. So take that there, bang that there. We've got this 4th. Now the 4th is the next note up in this scale that we all know and love. And you can see it's on the A string, there, and that is going to give you your A-shaped octave. No, I'm not going through these C, A, G, E, D. I'm going through them in this manner that shows you, where you're going to find them. Now, the A shape only uses 5 strings. You don't play the thick E strings. So, essentially, we don't need any value on there, which means we're only going to get 2 notes. And if I just take that same octave shape there, bang it over there, then I can see where my 4ths are. That's my 4ths. They're both there. Now, the 4th, if you offer it against the root note, then what you get is this kind of a bare sound. It doesn't really have any sort of emotional value to it, and the reason is that's a perfect 4th, and as such, it's quite resolved with the root. It's not as resolved as the 5th, but which we haven't got to yet, but it's still a nice resolving sound. It's stable, but it's not as stable as the 5th. Anyhow, which is the next note we're going to come up to? So let me grab this 5th. Now this 5th is extremely stable, so let's have a really stable colour for that one, which is this blue. And I think that the root and the 5th, these as your power chord, and you know how kind of benign they sound. They don't really sound too jarring, which is why most rock chords and rock songs use this pattern extensively. Now, because it's on the A string, and you think about your shapes, if you think about your shapes, which means I'm going to switch back to the guitar here and just show you. If you think about the C shape, you can see that it actually starts on the A string. So if you're going through your CAGED patterns and you think to yourself, well, the E shape and the G shape are on the E string, and the A shape and the C shape are on the A string. So if I take that back, and let me just switch that over again, if I take that back over here, you can see that what I get is a lovely C-shaped octave. And that's another one there. That's just a little bit of a colour-coded loveliness there, hopefully. Hopefully that makes sense. And that leaves us, we've gone from the root to the flat 3rd, to the 4th, to the 5th, to the last note of the group of 5. Because remember what I said, this is pentatonic. Penta means 5. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, the last note we're going to add, we'll have a colour. Let's see what colour we'll have. I tell you what, we'll go for this lovely magenta. The last colour we have there is this one, and this is for the flat 7. Oh, I didn't put a line under the the 5th there, but I'm sure you can work out what's going on there from that. Now, if I take this one over here, this is on the D string, and if I bang that on the D string there, because this is the only octave we have, the D-shaped octave comes up 3 frets and over 2 strings. And that's the way you can see it there. So you can see that this, if I add that there, you can see that this minor pentatonic, it consists of CAGED, caged octaves. This is the makeup of the whole of that scale. And in fact, all scales are made up of these variants, and this way of finding the notes is super useful. If I want to, and I'll put a bonus one in here, the easiest way to turn this minor pentatonic into a blues is to add a flat 5. And because of the nature of knowing where the 5th is, yeah, or the 4th, if you want to think of it that way, then what we can do is we can just add that note in there. There's a couple of ways we can do it. I'll just switch over to the diagram just to show you. Right, so with this flat 5, well, it's called the blue note for a reason, but I'm going to use the red note for this just so that you can see it. This note here on the A string at the 7th fret, that is the 5th. If I go backwards one, then it is flattened. It is a lower pitch. Now, the easy way to do this would be to just look over that caged C shape that we have there and just replicate it. Yeah, so we could replicate it there. So that gives us the flat 5. But also, because it is on the A string, then what we can see is that it could be an A shape as well, because it's following the sequence, you see. We have this sequence, well, where's my pencil? Right, we have this sequence, and the sequence is, and I'll go black on this one, and the sequence is, if you can see, there's that C-shaped octave, and then if I cut, this is the way I see this, going over, cutting over that way, because it resembles a power chord. That's your C-shaped octave, and there is your A-shaped octave. Yeah, so you got those there. Those are all there. Let me just, there's a bit cluttered is that, and guys, don't worry, what I'll do is I'll save this and I'll bang it out as a PDF in the description at the end of the lesson. So you can see that that's how you find all those notes. And the reason you want to find all those notes is because you want to express the scale in your own way. And the way you do it is you target those notes that have a specific emotion. Now, hopefully that's made sense to you there, and you can see how those caged octaves form all those scales. Every scale does it. All the chords do it, and all the arpeggios do it, which reminds me, I'm going to do a lesson that somebody requested, which was the relationship between chord scales and arpeggios. That's coming up in another live lesson or a recorded one, depends what, but it will be up on here. So if that's something you want to see, make sure you hit that subscribe. If you've got some value from this lesson, make sure you give this lesson a like, please. Drop a comment below. If it's made sense, then that's absolutely fantastic. Guys, thank you for tuning in today. I'm doing my best to keep this to a minimum, and I will see you in the next broadcast. Take care, guys. Stay safe. Do all the subscribe stuff. See you later.